Don't watch our review if you have any intentions of watching this movie. Go watch it first and then come back.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to episode 129 of Press Any Key. I am your host, Pat Naparano. You can find all of our social media listed down below. You could also join the conversation not only of our comments, but in our Discord server. With me, as always, is my co-host, Nick McFly. Hey, Gingy on the ones and twos. And all the way from Roku City, still on the run. Everyone give it up for Michael J. Burke, everyone. MJB.
Michael J. Burke is legitimately and actually my father.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay. I feel like a lot of people's dads has the J.
Wait, I thought your middle name isn't your dad's name?
Me?
No, dude.
Oh, okay.
Why? What, is your dad's middle name?
No, for some
Nick?
reason, I thought your middle name was your dad's first name.
Me?
No, Mike.
Oh, okay. I was like, what?
You thought my middle name was my dad? No, my grandpa's.
Okay.
No. We're not doing this like what street did your grandma live on kinda. You're not getting my credit card info.
All right. Well, actually,
Okay.
while we're on the topic, what is your porn name, Mike? First.
Again, no, we're not stealing my identity by
All right,
using
well,
this.
Okay. You know mine?
I did at one point.
It's Chance Stratford.
That's
It
pretty
literally
good.
Yours
doesn't.
is so good.
Yeah.
Liz?
No.
No.
Because we still live here.
Okay, so all right, well, fine. Mine was Justin Garden,
Justin Garden.
who is also a
It's-
kid I went to high school with. Same name.
Wait,
It's
what
really what's really funny about that is that I can't believe you guys named
I had
your
a dog named Justin.
Justin.
Justin the Haverstraw dog.
Oh no, wait.
Mine-
I do have. Wait, is it the first your first street?
First pet.
Okay.
And the street you grew up on.
Okay, well
Yeah.
that's technically still here, but I did have another house if we want to use that. But,
Yeah, that's the one you grew up on.
Then it would be Clancy Trento, which just sounds like a detective.
Trento?
Clancy Trento. r/Clancy Trento. Blowing up.
That's a detective.
Mine-
Yeah.
Clancy Trento.
Mine, if we're gonna go with the first street I lived on, would be Zebra Sunset.
Zebra. Wait, what? Hold on. What the fuck? You had a zebra?
That's a
Yeah, we
name.
named the zebra. No, we had like a little, black and white fish that we named Zebra.
Zebra.
Wait,
God.
was it a zebra fish?
No.
It was a zebra fish.
Okay. And you said no.
I guess I was wrong. So,
Damn right.
That lines
Everyone-
up perfectly with our first topic. Pat, make a great segue here.
I was actually going to say that we're talking about the creator this week, but real quick, I just wanted to jump in here with, I finally saw the Aquaman 2 trailer,
I did too.
and there's no way that movie could be good. It's not possible. It started out really good, and I was like, okay, character driven, and then it's like
got Patrick
and then-
J. Wilson in it.
and then it's like there's a trident and 7 seas, and you have to get this, and I was just like, God damn it, we're doing it again.
We're expanding the lore.
Aquaman.
There's
Wait,
Matt. You
what
can
are-
use that mask up there.
Yeah, I know. What did I do with the paper towels? I'll cut this out.
For those of you at home, Pat spilled coffee on himself.
Did he pee pee? Did he go pee pee?
He did a little pee pee, a little poo poo.
Little A, little B, little P, little poo.
Please don't cut this out.
All right. Well, now that we got that under control,
Yeah. But yeah, no, there's no way Aquaman 2 is going to be good. And
and they're bringing back all of the villains from the first movie.
I like the first movie.
Yeah, but I'm just saying.
Yaya is Black Manta.
Yeah.
Yaya.
Patrick J. Wilson is.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, that's. All right. So the
Nicole
Golden
Kidman-
Globes.
Was Nicole Kidman in the first one?
Yeah.
I didn't even know that.
Well, that was the whole joke in The Flash when he calls up Tamora Morrison and he's like, hey, can I speak to Aquaman? And he's like, who the hell is that? He's like, your wife is the queen of Atlantis, right? And like, it's that old like fat lady on the couch because he fucked up the timeline. Yeah. I now realize if you didn't see the first Aquaman, you wouldn't really get
I
that
just
joke.
thought that was his wife.
It's the only one that made $1 billion and you didn't see it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
I didn't see it either.
I like it. I
Liz,
thought it was
did you see
okay.
it?
Yes, I did see it.
Look
It
who
was-
she's engaged to. Of
It
course
was
she's-
I
fine.
know.
It was fine. It was okay.
Look,
it was the
they have
one.
an octopus that plays drums. Okay.
It was the one DC movie that you can actually see things in so far.
Yeah,
it was
is
it was
very
well
bright and
lit.
colorful. Yeah.
And I thought it was pretty emotional at times too. All right. Anyway.
So does that bring us to our first topic?
Yeah. award shows. They're always really
No,
emotional at times.
Let's go to the other. Let's skip this and go to the one that has to do with Aquaman.
Yeah, I guess
Because
you're
that
right.
kind of segues a little bit better.
All right, cool. Well, I guess we'll start with this. So James Gunn has confirmed 4 DC characters that are coming from the DCEU to the DCU with the same actor, same exact
Can we
design.
guess, Mike?
Can we guess? Can we guess?
Yeah. I have them listed
Okay,
out,
wait.
but go ahead and you can.
Yeah,
you can
Nick.
guess.
Nick and I don't know. So Nick, you guess one, then I'll guess
I
one.
feel like Gal
Wait,
Gadot,
Liz, do you know?
It's got to be Gal Gadot, right?
I don't know. Mike?
I have the article up, so I will not be participating.
Gal
Okay.
Gadot, Kal-El, no.
Okay, Mike, how about you?
Jared Leto.
No, dude, he fucking openly hates Jared Leto.
Oh, you know what? I'm gonna guess somebody from the Suicide Squad. Some of them,
Okay.
at least.
Mike, this is your last guess.
Harley Quinn.
This is my
right?
last guess. Are they bringing the flashback?
All right, now, so first one up is Zolo Mira. I don't know how to say his name. From Blue Beetle, basically, the kid who played Blue Beetle.
Does that
Viola
even count?
Viola Davis
Well, we knew-
as Amanda
I knew
Waller.
she was coming back.
Okay.
John Cena as
There
Peacemaker,
we go.
Hell yeah.
and Freddie Stroma as Vigilante.
Oh, okay.
Really?
Yeah,
Ooh.
yeah, they're bringing him over too. Good, because I like him. He's really funny.
I would
Yeah.
watch Peacemaker again. I love that show.
That show was very good.
When's season 2?
Did they say anything about a
Season 2 is not
two or
happening
anything?
until after Creature Commandos and Superman Legacy are out the door. That's what they're getting.
They're
through for.
prioritizing.
Yeah. Which
All right.
Superman's got to do well, so
Yeah.
they should really focus on that. But yeah. So any thoughts on that? I'm excited because I think all these characters are really well cast, and I think all of the properties that they are in are very good, and they were received by audience as well. So there's no reason to throw out the baby with the bathwater in this sense. Like, just bring them on over.
For me, like me, I wanted the clean slate.
Clean slate.
Blue Beetle, fine. It doesn't really interact with any. I didn't see it, but it didn't, as far as I know, interact with any of the other movies.
Mm-hmm.
And as much as I loved Peacemaker, part of me wants to say it's got stink on it.
Yeah,
It's got the stink on it, but not the worst thing in the world.
Yeah.
So no Margot Robbie.
They didn't say.
But
I
I mean,
would be surprised.
That's what I'm wondering. I'm wondering if this is like a little bit of a
A tease.
not like a red herring, but like almost like that. Because these are relatively like not affecting most of this,
Yeah.
So
No,
if we get
this might be like just a little release of the first few, and then we'll find out some more names down the line.
just
yeah,
a taste.
I don't like that. Don't ever do that
Gadot's,
again.
Yeah.
she's back in the Fast and Furious franchise. She doesn't need DC.
She doesn't need this.
Yeah, she showed up on that submarine at the end. I forgot. I was like, "What are you guys talking about?" And then that's right. I forgot that movie just ends with no completion, and then there's just a post-credit scene of Gal Gadot. But yeah, listen, I'm excited. I love Peacemaker. I think John Cena is great in the role. I like Viola Davis as Amanda Waller. Plus, like, when you have Viola Davis being like, "I'll just keep doing this character," that's not an actress that you want to just throw out.
Yeah.
And then I really liked Freddie Stroma in Vigilante. For me, he was a standout in that series. So that makes me very happy. I'm on the same page as you guys as Blue Beetle. I didn't see the movie, but people liked it. And it did make enough money that it broke even. So,
Wow.
yeah.
It
So-
really knocked it out of the park.
So,
But you're saying that this means that Aquaman will not be back.
I'm saying Aquaman won't be back because Aquaman looks like shit.
Well, the way you framed this conversation when we were talking about this particular story was you think this means that they're releasing these names and not Jason Momoa is probably
I don't
a death
think-
sentence
well,
for the movie.
To be clear, this was not like an official press release. This was like, who are you currently bringing over on Twitter? And he was at liberty to say, here's who I have already coming over.
They're
so
confirmed their
who
contracts,
knows?
right?
There could be. I mean, like, there was that whole bit with, like, remember the end credit scene of The Flash and whatever.
Oh, I remember.
There was... They changed some scene in this one with Michael Keaton's Batman to Ben Affleck's Batman to kind of keep it all on the same timeline and tie everything up. I don't know, dude. But
thought that
even
was-
just then, just watching the movie, like just watching the trailer, I was just like, dude, this. this is gonna be shit. Like, there's no way this could be good. I just don't believe it. Same thing with the Marvels too. That the runtime is only an hour and 45 minutes. There's no way that movie's gonna be good.
That is not a good indicator.
Not a good. And I got shit for. Did you see that shit? Did you see that shit I got on Twitter, Mike, when I said
I did? And
I retweeted that.
I read your tweet. I full agreed with you.
I
was
retweeted
like,
that. I was like,
idea.
this is not a good sign. If they're hacking down the runtime this much to try and get as many show times before the reviews come out, like, that's not a good sign. And some fucking asshole on Twitter, I'll just say it. He's been in my feed for a while. He's an asshole. He was just like,
you know who you are.
He was just like, he says, it's because female directors know how to get it done. Dude, shut. All right, I'm gonna come back to this when this fucking bombs and gets horrible reviews, and I want to hear what you have to say. Like,
so for me, I don't know. I didn't realize that it was getting. You're saying it was getting trimmed down substantially from a longer runtime.
Oh yeah, definitely. All of the Phase 4 ones.
I thought you were just saying the fact that it's an hour and a half period is a problem, but I didn't know it was getting hacked down. But from the trailer, it looks like a fun, different. Like we haven't done any story like this. And I was excited from this trailer, actually.
Yeah, it's just one of those things where it's like Marvel used to produce 2-hour plus superhero epics effortlessly, and they were always good. Where it's now, it feels like they're so unsure of the direction that they need to be going to build to whatever they haven't figured out yet, that I don't think that there is a consistent vision for any of these movies going forward at this point. And Miss Marvel is about to be another casualty of that.
Especially because all of these movies that are still coming out from the COVID era, where they're kind of restructuring. Okay, now this one goes here in the timeline, and we got to restructure for
Remember,
this.
Spider-Man was supposed to be in Doctor Strange first, but then they swapped those because Sony wanted something out. So
then everything going on with Jonathan Majors, I'm sure that has thrown a wrench into what the planning is.
Oh, yeah. I mean, they're moving ahead with Loki season 2, though. They put out the trailer.
I'm assuming that shit was already shot in the can.
Oh, yeah, it was. You can trust and believe that. But my whole thing is just like, I get the whole Jonathan Majors situation isn't good. It's just, they are obviously, they don't know, like, Kevin Feige's either split or, like, this is the last out the door of the like PAK era, which was like trim everything down, and like truthfully, listen, I can't see a world where the first movie is 2 hours plus and the second movie is only is a little bit more than 90 minutes. Like, why wouldn't you want to tell more story? You know what I mean? It's
if the audience is willing to
exactly
sit through it.
When you have a big franchise movie like this where all of them are like 2 hours plus, and then all of a sudden one's coming out and it's looking around 90 minutes, it's like they're just trying to get as many showtimes booked before the reviews hit.
All I mean to
That's
say
what they're doing.
is if they came in and said it's going to be an hour and a half from the start, that I don't think is a big problem, because these standalone movies could be tighter. They don't all need to be 2.5 hours. The Avengers movies, fine, but I mean the standalones,
5 hours, 5 hour Avenger movies. Yeah,
I don't care. I'll sit through 4 or 5 hours.
I think it's gonna feel like a glorified Disney special. I think it's gonna feel like a holiday special.
I don't think it'll be chintzy or cheap though. But you're right, Mike.
No, I'm not saying like that. I mean, like the Guardians holiday special didn't like look cheap in that way. Like, it looked like it was well shot, but I think it's gonna be.
I also used the movie.
It's gonna feel like
Yeah,
I feel like they're just going to be like, oh, we've released it and it's that. But I think, like, to your point, they've cut it down and they've edited it down, that it's, like, probably going to feel like it's been chopped and piecemealed and things are kind of out of order. I'm not hopeful for it.
Listen, reviewing that movie is going to be hard enough objectively without the shitstorm of incels and all these new femcels that are around, thanks to that ugly chick on Twitter, Pearl Davis. But I'm just calling it right now. I'm calling it as I see it. Like, that runtime, not a good fucking sign. It's just not. It's.
I guess we'll find out in about a month.
That is true. Yeah.
Keep in mind, like, we really positively reviewed Miss Marvel. Like, I think we all really liked.
Yeah, it was mixed
series,
positive
right?
for sure. Because the first 3 episodes were like, and then the last 3 were like, okay, like they actually put something together.
I came out of that a lot more like.
I thought you were saying
happy than not.
Captain
Marvel movie. But yeah, I really enjoyed the show. I thought it was one of the best of all the Disney Plus TV shows.
Yeah, that I agree with.
Same.
Doesn't make great though.
Yeah, it doesn't make it great, but it's definitely their strongest showing in a long time.
Yeah. So speaking of strong showings, award shows. So the Golden Globes added 2 new categories for this year, which whenever they try to add categories like this, and this does reference the 2018 incident, which I'm not sure if you guys are aware of, but I will read it to you now.
Is that where Will Smith slapped somebody?
No, Nick, that was this year at the Oscars.
Oh, it feels like an
John
eternity
Travolta
ago.
read a name wrong.
Doesn't seem.
So the first category that they're adding is cinematic and box office achievement in motion pictures. So I bet you're wondering, what does that mean, Pat?
I'm gonna guess this is going based on Pat's standard of what a good movie is.
That's what I'm saying.
How
So-
much money did it make?
The Cinematic and Box Office Achievement Award is similar to Outstanding and Popular Film Award that was introduced and quickly withdrawn in 2018 due to complaints from the Academy members and the media. Billboard reported that many believe the award, quote, appeared to be transparent attempt to pander to mainstream audiences in an effort to boost the ratings of the annual telecast. While that is true, it also created this thing where it's like, hey, these films are separate but equal, and Black Panther was gonna win that year. So it wasn't really great optics-wise either.
Yeah, that's not good.
Like, it just wasn't gonna come together the way they thought it would. So then this new category, cinematic and box office achievement, it's more than just rewarding the year's top earning and most viewed motion pictures. It's that these films have typically not been recognized amongst industry awards, but they should be. Now, while I agree with that sentiment, I know he doesn't actually believe that.
No.
He doesn't at all, because they barely even know the fucking films that they're actually get into the Golden Globes, let alone, like, there's no way that guy has watched all those movies. I'm sorry, I just don't believe it. And now it's like, hey, you got to make time for even more movies this year. You know what I mean? So there will be a total of 8 nominees for the Cinematic and Box Office Achievement Award. Eligibility, this will get your panties in a bunch. Eligibility requires motion pictures to have a total gross of at least $150 million, with $100 million of that coming from the U.S. domestic box office alone.
Box office.
So The Flash would not make it.
Oh man.
So Indiana Jones
maybe
is out.
we're in support of this then.
Spider-Verse, well in there. Spider-Verse should win actual awards.
That's the thing, is like that you can have a great movie that also hits all these numbers.
Yeah.
That's fine, but I mean, like, why are we handing out awards for the biggest?
Because this is their way of saying, hey, these movies are
culture
yeah,
movies
exactly. It's like genre films are cool too, but
then just make
but
them
no.
great movies.
Yeah.
That's the thing is, did Spider-Verse 1 like walk away with a ton of awards? I'm assuming it probably did.
I think Spider-Verse won the Oscar for best animated film that year.
There you go. It's like, just do better.
Yeah. Across the Spider-Verse, we don't know, but I think Across the Spider-Verse is the best movie I've seen all year.
Yeah,
So
I would say so.
Yeah.
What about Pinocchio, Guillermo del Toro?
Pinocchio. That's I love that
Pinocchio
title.
del Toro.
Pinocchio Guillermo del Toro.
Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio. Was that this year?
That was this year.
Oh God.
That was this year.
That's
no,
one
it won an Oscar. It was 2022. It won an Oscar for best animated film. But
Yo.
Spider-Verse, Into the Spider-Verse, won at the 2020 Academy Awards for 2019. That's when it won. So then we have best stand-up comedian on television.
That's not the name of the award.
That is the
it?
name of the award category. Best
they
stand-up
have
comedian
they
on
have
television.
the opportunity to do the funniest thing with Will Smith.
Yeah. The best stand-up comedian category gives stand-ups a dedicated award for an individual performance as part of a comedy group or ensemble. Which, like, I get it, but also, like, there is no comedian worth their salt that is like, oh God, I hope I get nominated by the Golden Globes.
I'm sure, you know. It's
Now,
nice
to be
get
fair,
recognized.
Dave Chappelle won an Emmy a couple years ago. Louis C.K. won an Emmy post cancellation for his comedy album. So there are still these awards in this circuit, but, like, this is not this.
But we're still not. What?
Just
the
listen
thing-
to their reasoning.
This doesn't bother me, but the fact that we're still not recognizing like stuntmen, stuntmen and women, like, that's insane.
The Golden Globes has a rich history of supporting and celebrating the work of comedians, and we're thrilled to honor their brilliance alongside outstanding motion picture and television performances of the year. The stand-up category will have 6 nominees. In order to be eligible, a performer or performers must have released a traditional stand-up performance that is at least 30 minutes long and first aired in the U.S. by broadcast, basic, premium cable, streaming, or pay-per-view cable during a nomination period. The specials must be separate from a television series and must be released on a recognized media platform that does not include social media accounts. So no comedians putting their shit out on YouTube is getting any
Wait, so
nominations.
does this
X.
not count
or X.
streaming then? 'Cause
No, it does. It
not
specifically
top
says
content?
streaming. So like you. So
Oh, it does say streaming.
Yeah. So for instance, Shane Gillis might be in there this year. You know, I hope so.
John Mulaney.
Maybe. Wait, did he put out something new this year too?
I think he did.
He did earlier this year.
Oh yeah, he did. Actually, I did
That
see
Baby
some
J
clips.
special.
I saw some clips of it on TikTok, and I remember thinking, "This is the first time I find John Mulaney actually that funny."
Really? For me, it's like this definitely doesn't stand up to his early stuff.
I liked
It's
it
'cause he's
because it
not
was
coked out.
way darker
Yeah, that's
material
true.
too. Although
That's true.
Yeah,
I saw.
you can-
I saw him at MSG when he started touring this material, and I could tell instantly. It's like, oh yeah, this is the real guy, but also I miss him on drugs.
I just
know.
love I loved the joke about him being like, I had an amazing lineup at my fucking
Yeah, at his
in my
intervention.
intervention. He goes, I had arguably the funniest people at any intervention, and not a single person said anything funny.
He's like people showed up via Zoom.
Yeah,
he's
and like
you can just close the laptop if you didn't want him there.
I did love how he's like, and then it turned into some real regrettable stuff. All right. So with that said, hey, listen, sure, include the comedians. That's fun. And you know what? Sure, throw a bone to the blockbusters. Everybody's gonna snuff when they hear the category, and who knows if it's even gonna be televised. I imagine the blockbuster one will be televised. I don't think the stand-up.
It does
comedian.
feel like a ploy to just get more
Yeah,
eyes on
it's exactly what it
it.
is.
So
Agree.
it would be televised.
So let's talk about some future movies. There, Nicholas. Are you a fan of Christopher Nolan? Nick, I think you are.
I would say so.
You think so? What about you, Mike? You think you're a fan of Chris Nolan?
I think his movies are pretty stellar.
Okay, I'm gonna leave that one alone. Help! We have no corn or
Help!
what?
I'm behind a bookshelf.
Yeah. Liz, do you like Chris Nolan?
I'm gonna say yes.
Okay.
You and I were both very muted, but I would say Nolan is like one of the directors that really got me into film as a young man. Help! I'm in a dream.
Inception.
Inception is like Inception. The movie whose name I can't remember is one of my all-time favorites.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Chris Nolan's. I've said it before on this show. Chris Nolan's my all-time favorite director. I love the style. I love his writing. I love the way he shoots action, and I love how a lot of his films are implied. Like you don't really see the horrificness of something, but it's implied. The most I've ever seen is Oppenheimer with the hand behind the head thing real quick, or did she kill it? You know what I mean? So,
And even
but
that was an implication.
Jordan Rumi, I think his name is, from World of Real, had a scoop this week, and it made its way to Reddit. Now, this is something that we have been talking about on this show, but also the industry has been talking about for like a good 15 years at this point, and that is Christopher Nolan potentially helming not one but 3 James Bond movies. So I don't know if you guys know how the James Bond IP is divided at all, but basically the Broccoli family.
Oh, the broccoli.
The Broccoli's control the James Bond IP.
With an iron fist.
Yeah, that's true. They are very strict about creative control and what you can and cannot portray in a James Bond property.
Which kind of conflicts with
What my man Chris Nolan wants to do, and that's the crux of this. So I do have some good juicy trivia for you guys here, but basically,
got some juicy broccoli trivia.
Amazon and the Broccolis are on board with Christopher Nolan, but now they're just hammering out all the details. So here's what we have. So first of all, the deal is being negotiated would be for Nolan to outright direct 2 Bond movies. They want him to write both of them as well. Still no word yet on what actor would be playing Bond. However, all signs are pointing towards Aaron Taylor Johnson, because he did in fact audition for Bond, and they really did like him. and it would make sense that Aaron Taylor Johnson would be picked for Bond because Christopher Nolan also worked with him on Tenet. Remember, he has that surprise
True, yeah.
role in the second half of the movie.
Oh,
The other name I've heard, many names, but for me, I really would love to see Henry Cavill.
I would love that
I think
too.
we all
I
really
think we
would.
all want
To
that.
me, I hear a lot of people say that Pierce Brosnan was the most visually James Bond, like what you expected
Yeah.
James Bond to look like. Whether or not his movies probably aren't the best. but
No,
he had the look.
GoldenEye is like
Yeah.
top tier James Bond.
Whereas I think Henry Cavill could have. Nobody looks more like James Bond than
Yeah.
him, and he can act the fuck out of that role.
He's
sure.
also like the perfect spy. You know, he's been in The Man from U.N.C.L.E. He's in that new movie Argyle that's
Mission
coming out.
movies?
The Mission Impossible movies, and then he was in another Guy Ritchie movie too, where he played another spy. I think The Gentleman he was in.
Oh yeah.
Either way, so here are some
Do you
key
think
scoop.
they'd-
Go ahead, Mike.
Do you think they'd ever give us like a Tom Hardy?
He's a bit old.
And he's not English.
Yeah.
He's got to be English.
So, key points to remember. The Broccolis and Amazon are pushing for Nolan and that he's on board. In principle, he's on board in principle unless his need for creative freedom isn't met. There are sticking points to be ironed out in terms of tone that might scuttle things. So here's the thing. Christopher Nolan, he wants to do whatever he wants to do. The Broccolis are like, it. Very rarely do we give anyone carte blanche to do
But
whatever
if
they
they
want.
were going to give it to anybody.
I agree. So the Broccolis want a full reboot in the modern era, with Nolan wanting to make adaptations of the Ian Fleming novels in the period in which they were written. So like the 50s and the 60s. That would stick so much closer
would
to
be
the
so
original
cool.
source material. So it's unclear as to what Amazon wants apart from the money. Like, you know what I
To
mean?
me, that is exactly what the that's the shot in the arm that the James Bond franchise needs. Because right now, as great as the Daniel Craig movies are, they're just kind of at this point generic action films.
Yeah.
Whereas if you're doing a period piece, I feel like that could get people juiced up to see something different.
I agree with you. Have you seen Casino Royale?
Not in a long time.
Okay,
It's
Casino
been-
Royale is like one of the best James Bond
I
movies
saw
ever.
it around
It's
the time
so
that it
good.
came
And then
out.
Quantum of Solace came out during the writer's strike, and that was awful. And then Skyfall came, and that is another one that's at the top of the pile. And
then
then
COVID.
Spectre came. No, Spectre came first, and that was the one with Christoph Waltz, and that's a so-so
Yep.
one. Like, it's not bad, but it isn't great. And then there was No Time to Die. No Time to Die is a good James Bond movie, but it got no coverage because of the pandemic, all the start and stop marketing campaigns.
Yep.
So
I remember hearing about that for ages.
Yeah.
Like, when the fuck is this movie going to come out?
So, basically, the goal is to get Nolan to do 2 to 3 films and then have him executive produce going forward. Amazon are putting all their eggs in one basket for Nolan due to the fact that he wants the job. He delivers critically and commercially on films, and he's one of the few directors that can put asses in seats on his name alone. If they don't get Nolan, it's literally a back to the drawing board for them. It sounds like the once rumored Matthew Vaughn, which I think he would be a great director for Bond too. He's done
Vaughn?
Matthew Vaughn. He's done all the. Okay.
I'm just picturing Vince Vaughn as James Bond.
He's done all the Kingsman movies.
Okay.
He's done all of the he's done a couple X-Men movies. Like, he's done big budget movies before, so he knows what he's doing. And
did Kick-Ass,
he did
too.
do
Oh,
Kick-Ass
okay,
as well.
cool.
And he's doing this new thing that Henry Cavill's in, Argyle, the new spy movie.
Yeah.
So then and it seems the reason that he seems to be out is because he's actually tied up with DC now. He's going to be directing some movies from them. So nobody else is being considered, at least for now. So unless they are waiting for Nolan to give them a concrete answer, yes or no. Are you in or you out? Like, everything's on pause and waiting for him. So I imagine this is going to happen because Nolan says his entire filmography is inspired by James Bond movies. I mean, you can see it through the Dark Knight movies.
Yep.
You can see it in Inception. You can see it in any movies that involves guns. I mean, Tenet, everyone was like, that is basically James Bond, but with like this
James
weird
Bond
time.
backwards.
Yeah. Whereas, and then his films, the Batman movies, then inspired the James Bond movies going forward. Because remember, everyone's like, Skyfall is basically
Dark
the
and
same as the
gritty.
Dark Knight. It's just
Yep.
like, is it or did it just take cues from it? You know what I mean?
My one hesitation with this is that it would be a shame to have Christopher Nolan not doing original ideas. Although he would be writing the movies, it's like it's an IP. I love the shit that he comes up with.
Yeah.
So
Now, what if Chris Nolan was like, "Hey, I have a great idea for a James Bond movie. We'll take Daniel Craig. We'll do one more with him because I like him." And Daniel Craig's like, "Chris Nolan, okay, I'm there." And at the end of the movie, we'll have a bunch of floating globe type things all crash into each other with different James Bonds, and Sean Connery will be in this one.
You just took my joke from the other
that's
day.
where I got this from. Okay,
Fuck, man. that was my joke in another universe, motherfucker.
I said that picture of Sean Connery from like 2017 where he just looks out of it. Have you?
Pull it up. I want Sean Connery from The Rock.
Where is he? Hold on, I'll find him. There's a fucking crazy photo of him where he just looks confused walking down. Oh, there it is. Yep. Here's that's James Bond. That's him now.
Here's Grandpa.
Oh, what? There we go. Yeah. There he is.
Oh my god.
He looks like he just woke up.
That's
He
a
looks
fire
like he
jacket,
just woke
though.
up from sleepwalking a half mile away from his house. That's where am I? It's funny. This is
In
the
a
picture.
fugue state.
This is the picture that all of the websites used when he was opening. Like, yeah, you should be able to hit a woman. Like when he was like,
that's an appropriate photo. That's his Wikipedia page photo.
he's like openly endorsing using an open ham smack on a woman. I was like, Jesus Christ. So, but let me ask you a question. Here's the one thing I want to ask. If you're doing James Bond in the 50s, he's got to be a womanizer, right?
60s, but no, you don't have to do that.
Well, that's
you can leave that part.
I mean,
out.
I feel like that's the whole thing is like, hey, I have sex with all my informants. I'm James Bond.
You can just make it like,
So because like
you don't have to be so overt with it.
well, the thing that they did with the Daniel Craig ones is that the reason that he's a womanizer is because he's like haunted by the ghosts of his past or whatever. Whereas
he got
like
hit in the balls.
Whereas like old school
With the
James,
rope.
whereas like old school James Bond was just like, yeah, I like having sex. Like that's what it came down to, really. So like, and even in the books too, his womanizing is a big part of his character. So it's like, if you're gonna do it, are you gonna do it
a little bit?
Yeah, I don't think it needs to be like in every scene, but I am saying that like he definitely needs to.
He needs to fuck.
Yeah, James Bond's gotta fuck. It's a part. It's in the text. You know what I mean? Okay.
well, if it's a
You
Chris
can't
Nolan
end
movie,
the Bible
we'll
without the
get-
crucifixion. You know, that's all I'm saying.
Yeah, somebody will be reading the original copy of the Ian Fleming book as they're riding somebody else's dick.
That's
Yeah,
Thanks
it's
a lot,
Chris
Christopher
Nolan. We're gonna
Nolan.
get full frontal.
what is that? What's that? She put it back in anyway. So yeah, listen, I'm on board for this though. I would love to see a Christopher Nolan James Bond series set in the 60s. That'd be cool as fuck.
I'm still waiting for the Quentin Tarantino Star Trek movie.
That isn't moving anywhere, but he actually said recently that even though he's finishing up after 10 movies,
He could still do TV.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I'm looking forward to.
And not direct. He could also
Right,
produce and
yeah.
shit.
All right, so should we do the thing now? Should we do the
Flip of the week?
No, yeah, we'll just skip over there. So we saw The Creator this weekend, and let's go ahead and talk about it. This stars John David Washington, Gemma Chan, Ken Watanabe. It's written by Gareth Edwards and Chris Weitz, but it's directed by Gareth Edwards, and he was originally a special effects guy who turned director.
Really?
Yeah, because he did perspective really well. He did, like old school, like forced perspective, like they're using models, but guys in suits. That's why he was hired for Godzilla, because he had an amazing eye for. And if you watch Godzilla 2014, all the perspective of the monsters are from the human eye.
Oh, fuck. I just recently watched a video about how the Japanese version of Godzilla is usually from a human perspective, and like the more recent one, it just looks like guys in suits punching each other.
Whereas if you watch 2014, since Gareth Edwards was a fan of
the
original, and that's what he built his filmmaking off of, all of Godzilla 2014 is from the human perspective. It's all through human eyes. So, and then if you watch Rogue One, that's the only Star Wars movie ever where you see what a fucking AT-AT looks like from the
You're
human
about to get
perspective.
crushed by it.
It's the only
Cool.
It's the only Star Wars movie where they're running across bridges and TIE fighters like show up next to them to show you how big some of this shit really is. So he's got a fucking crazy eye for this. And he does it again in this one, I think, too, with some of the larger stuff towards the end, and we'll talk about in spoilers. But I thought this was great. I think there's a little bit lacking in the emotional department with some of the characters. Other than that, though, the world is insane that they build in this movie.
It's really the cornerstone of this movie is they did an incredible job of creating an interesting, compelling sci-fi future.
Yes.
I think the biggest thing, I was reading some reviews and I pretty much agree with most of them, that the thing that's lacking is the story. The script could have stood for a rewrite,
Yes.
to make it a little bit more compelling.
Because I didn't feel the relationship between
from what I was,
between a little toaster that could and Tenet.
Alfie.
Alfie, yeah.
Alfie and what's John David Washington's name in this?
Joshua.
Yeah,
Joshua.
Joshua.
And just so we have it on record, Alfie is played by Madeline Unavoilis. I think I'm saying that correctly.
She was great.
She was great too.
She's 9 years old.
So I saved a review from Reddit if it will load.
So Mike, what'd you think?
Mike didn't see it.
Oh, that's right, Mike. You didn't see this movie.
Yeah, I thought it was really good because they only offered it in like 2 fucking time slots
So
near this movie
that
theater.
was the other thing too. So we should
Well, this thing is definitely not going to do well just because this has no word of mouth.
No, I actually think quite the opposite. I think it has very little marketing, but a lot of word of mouth.
I haven't
I was
heard
gonna say-
anybody talk about this fucking thing.
I've only heard about.
I haven't heard anybody. I haven't heard anybody talk about it because there's been no marketing. I
well,
think.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, they go hand in hand. but-
all the all the guys I watch on YouTube are recommending it. So that's why I was like, we should check this out. But even then, just from the one trailer or the poster I saw, I was like, I need to see this fucking movie.
Let me read this review real quick. I think this is a good way to sum it up. This is by user Daedalus80 on Reddit on the box office subreddit. This movie's visuals were crazy good, especially considering it was done with an $80 million budget. Acting was great across the board, music, sound, etc., all great. But it's true the story didn't really do anything different from what we've ever seen before. I don't mind the hodgepodge film narrative. I absolutely love Oblivion, but to stand out in sci-fi genre, you need those moments that make a movie a must-see. This didn't have those moments, but it came close.
Yeah, it did. That's a great way to put it. And you want to know the other thing is that 2 things. Number 1, Joel and Ellie are now the template for
every protagonist and kid
mother
sidekick.
daughter. Like it's just you.
Oh,
you
is
have
it
to,
really
You have to
heavy-handed
live
with
up to
that?
that. Oh yeah, you have to live up to that, and I just don't feel like that ever got there. And the other thing that going back to the it had moments that got close, but it never really made it like it never really. It just didn't have anything to say. You know what I mean? Where it's like
I
it
disagree.
kind of had commentary, but what makes a great sci-fi movie is when it explores that commentary. And while I think this movie did a thing where it's like it surrounds itself in like the
It's set
politics
dressing.
or the commentary is more like set dressing because they do kind of touch on it in a scene in the beginning of the movie.
The news broadcast?
No. When they're in the ground zero part and they're cleaning out robots, they do kind of touch on it. Yeah. But even then, it's just like that was like the most heavy-handed it ever got because this movie made me think of District 9 a lot and movies like Elysium or Chappie, the Neil Blomkamp sci-fi movies that he does. And even those movies and Chappie, being as shit as it is, had better commentary than this, for sure.
Did this get chopped up in editing, or like was this supposed to be longer?
I have
and
no
cut
idea.
down? I think from what I've read, it seems like this may have been closer to 3 hours originally, and to get it down to a runtime that studios were comfortable with, they had to take out chunks in the middle. So I'm wondering if there's a version of this that is more compelling in the story department.
Yeah. That would be optimal, and I would watch that version because it probably would make things a little bit more compelling. But you're absolutely right. The relationships between the characters is what was the least believable part about this movie.
Underbaked.
But everything else.
I still felt like the connection between Joshua and Alfie. Still, I thought it was good. It just it the same way with Last of Us TV show. It could have been a little bit longer to really develop. You understand that it's like their relationship develops over time.
Yes.
You don't need to spell it out, but it would be nice to see it a little bit more.
Yeah. But it's also one of those things where it's like, I get their relationship is supposed to develop over time, but I just didn't feel like it developed enough to where they were saying the things that they were saying to each other at the end of the movie.
Yeah,
That's
I
what
get
kind of
that.
felt weird.
Liz, any feelings?
Yeah, I thought it was good. I did think it was just slow at times, and because I didn't necessarily care about the characters, there's no real like payoff, especially at the end. I didn't care. I was like, oh, all right, it's
Okay,
over.
bye.
Okay, literally, okay, bye. But no, it was otherwise. I did really enjoy it. The acting for what it was great, but I agree, it did feel like we were missing a lot of context on things, and then it was just like implied, like that he should care about this Alfie or whatever you want to call it, AI robot, and it's just like, I don't know. It was all right. I enjoyed it, but it was a little dry.
I heard some people describe it as like, this is one of the new all-time sci-fi classics, and I don't agree with that.
No.
It comes close.
It's a high watermark.
It's a high watermark because like you think of like 2001, you think of something like Arrival, you think of something like what's another big one that came out recently? Dune, like the Dune movies. Where in this
Dune is instant classic. This is, I'm really impressed with the sci-fi world that you've created, but I'm not going to be talking about this forever. Being like, you gotta see this.
But this is one of the sci-fi movies that I've watched. I'm like, I wish there was like a book or a compendium that I could just go through.
This kind of made me feel like reading a Philip K. Dick novel.
Yeah,
that's what it felt.
It
like.
was weird. It was like one of those things where it's like it's got everything but the stuff to carry you through.
Well, again, in a Philip, I read last year. I read Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep?
Oh yeah,
which
that's
is
right.
the basis for Blade Runner.
Right.
And that book just it's the story's chugging along, and then about 2/3 of the way through, it just kind of doesn't know how to finish.
Yeah.
So it's not like Philip K. Dick, it was always knocking him out of the park. Even one of his most seminal works, it's just like he couldn't figure out how to bring it into the station.
Yeah.
So same thing here.
This is not like an adaptation of something, right? Like this is.
I don't
think
new
so.
IP.
I think this is a totally original
look it up.
idea.
But again, it's like the visuals, the setting, they were all incredibly striking because they all felt real, and it didn't. Mike, how when you watch sci-fi, it all feels like, oh, I'm just watching a lot of CGI,
Yeah.
This felt like, okay, how would an AI society interact with the human race? And they did I don't know how much of this is practical, but it all felt very practical.
Dude, there was not one wonky effect in this entire
No.
movie.
Everything looked
Everything
perfect.
looked amazing. Not only that, it was all during the day too.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
Also, there's an AI character who he's an actual character. I don't know who that actor was. Gave a strong performance for a CG character. I was very surprised. The one AI bad guy, the one robot in the other team.
Oh, with the ponytail?
He had a ponytail?
Yeah.
No, not him, not the Simulate, the other one. He was on Ken Watanabe's team.
We'll get to it. I don't know who you're talking about.
Okay. So I would just, I think we could finish on spoilers and just get into spoilers at this point. So I'm going to go ahead. I'd give this like a 9 out of 10. Just for the world alone, dude.
That's pretty strong.
Yeah.
I got to be honest. Like, I really was because when we were going to see this, I was like, it looks cool, but I don't know. From the second they started showing you the history of this world, and like, they were like, look at AI, it's so awesome. And we can go into more of this in spoilers. When it made that sinister turn and you see how the world plays out, and then like you think of all the logic behind all the technology that they're using now, and like the way the world is broken up geopolitical, it's just all of that shit interests me way too much. Like for me to like, that's what I'm saying, that like the story in this, not great, but the world, the action, the performances, the visuals, the locations. This film is fucking beautiful.
This is I say this a lot, but this is one of those movies where I would hang posters of any fucking scene.
Dude, there's one scene in this movie where it combines this classical look of like the Himalayas with the lower valley, and on the crest of one of the peaks is what you would assume is like a farmer out in like East Asia. And you know,
this was in all the trailers, where he's ringing the bell.
Yeah. And then you see that on, and you're just like, that is fucking.
It looks beautiful, and it looks like this is the type of shit that I wish modern day Star Wars was doing.
Yes.
This is it. I don't know. Like, is Gareth Edwards connected to Star Wars in any way?
He did Rogue One. He directed Rogue One. Yeah.
I mean, they should be bringing him. They should call him up right now and get him involved.
I'm not entirely sure if Kathleen Kennedy liked working with him, because after Principal Photography, they brought in Tony Gilroy to do all reshoots. So I don't know if they really liked it.
But this is the guy who, maybe not in every aspect, but at least on the visuals, understands what sci-fi should look like.
Yeah, exactly. And understands how to keep you interested, because I will say this, if there's anything else that the story does get right, it does keep moving. Mm-hmm. There's only some valleys. Everything kept moving. Like, you got from point A to point B pretty quick.
Yeah.
So
yeah, the whole from the time where Joshua, the protagonist, is like set on this journey all the way almost to the climax, it doesn't slow down. And then the climax kind of yeah. So what would you? I don't know if I'd say a 9, but 8.5.
Okay,
I would say is a fair grade.
Liz?
I'm gonna go with an 8, because I do agree that this is probably the most visually pleasing movie that we've seen in a while. We go from, like you said, mountaintops to cityscapes to everything in between. But like, the story was just a little lacking for me. I would have liked either cutting out some of the slow bits and putting in more context. Kind of a spoiler, there's like a 5-year jump. I would have liked to maybe see something in between that, just to give us more context of like what happened from point A to point B. And just like maybe like a little bit more context on some of these other characters that were in there. But otherwise, all in all, good movie. So
how about the design of the Nomad beam?
Don't even get me started. That was fucking cool. So cool.
Oh, the fucking
all right.
The what are the targets?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was sick.
Yeah. So all right. So we give this an 8.5 out of 10. So let's get into spoilers. So obviously, how we like to start every spoilers here to
does the dog die.com.
Stick with tradition here.
I mean, spoiler alert.
Is it a good movie? How much money did it make?
That's right.
Also,
while you're
neither dog died. There were multiple dogs put into harrowing situations.
So here we go.
That's true. Two dogs almost died.
The creator was made on a reported budget of $80 million. Now, they might have spent more, but that's what's reported. Domestically, this came in 3rd place this weekend, behind Paw Patrol and Saw X. And
this was Saw Patrol weekend?
This was Saw Patrol weekend. And domestically, it took in $14 million, internationally another $18 million, and worldwide another $32 million. So it's got a long way to go for profitability. That being said,
I think international
word of mouth
is the only thing that's going to carry this thing across the finish line.
Well, it's always the same thing. Always the same fucking mouth breathers on Twitter. They get like 80,000 likes. It's like, I wish the studios would put out something original.
Oh, dude, you should have seen
in that. No, none of them go see it.
The comment that I read earlier, that thread was all comments in alternating caps and lowercase. There's no original ideas in Hollywood anymore.
All right, so let's have this conversation real quick. There is no metric that suggests that is even true. As a matter of fact, we do know for a fact that there's more original film made today than ever before in history, and big studio films are the minority of films that come out today. They just have the money for the marketing budgets. That's really all it comes down to.
I think it's the fact that there's so many giant juggernaut
But it
movies.
was always like that, though.
No.
Okay, you're turning off my TV
sorry.
over here. So,
Take away Nick's,
but it really,
I have to fidget.
It really was always like that. That's not new. The idea that you can have a blockbuster every weekend, though, that's new.
That's what I'm saying.
But
We're now overloaded.
But
with
the
blockbusters.
problem, I feel like this current trend of overloading is that they put them all in 3 months of each other. Whereas if they would have done like they did before the pandemic, which was let's start sprinkling them out in February every couple of weeks. And then in the summer, everybody had their normal spots, where it's now, since they're catching up from the pandemic and, you know, Tom Cruise has to have his way and this movie needs to come out here. You know what I mean? This was just a cluttered fucking season.
But I think we're missing the point of saying, yeah, there might be a ton of original movies, independent movies, but there are still a fuck ton. The fact that you're saying, oh, they should be spreading these out more, doesn't change the fact that there's a fuck ton of, I don't know, how many Marvel movies come out in a year at this point.
It's been 3 a year since like 2012.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
but
I mean,
like always, because so many get delayed and everything. But I think what you're saying, Pat, is where, yeah, and I think we talked about it during Indiana Jones, where it was like not every movie has to swing for the fence. And every movie now tries to be that blockbuster, tries to be, you know, oh, I'm going to make it and I'm going to make it so we're going to be one of the top 3 grossing movies this year. Like, no, we need some of those like shitty, not even shitty. Judd Apatow, not shitty, but like the Judd Apatow type, like, you know, movies that aren't there to make a ton of money, that are just kind of like, you know, fun, enjoyable, not these big franchise influencing or world-altering films.
Yeah, no, fair enough. I think this is a perfect movie, though, because it swings for the fences, and it kind of sticks the landing. You know what I mean? It swung for the fences on a very modest budget, and I think that's why
it didn't swing for the fences marketing-wise.
Oh no, not a chance.
The intention was not like we are going to create the creator universe.
Yes. Well, there is no. They already said there will be no sequel to this.
Big spoiler here, being that we're in spoilers. John David Washington does presumably die at the end of the movie. So, I mean, you could keep the movie going with the Alfie or the franchise going with the Alfie character. I don't know.
I want a comic book.
This would be cool.
I want to read about the fucking world this takes place in. So, let's.
Can we start with the intro sequence?
Yeah. Let's talk about the intro sequence.
So I was also really impressed with this opening intro sequence. It starts out and it's like one of those, documentary style, like, oh, the world of technology.
Yeah,
and it takes you
Dude,
through.
the first thing I thought about is, why did every robot in the 50s have to look humanoid? Why did they need eyes? Why did they need eyes?
Because people like people. But what I really like about that is, did you notice the narrator is the same guy from the History Channel?
Yeah.
They got the real guy or somebody who sounds just like him who does the History Channel videos to narrate this thing, and that instantly put me in the mindset of, oh yeah, I'm watching this documentary.
Dude, it was awesome because it made me think about when, all right, so you know this whole topic about, or this debate about the phrase unskilled labor. And there is this idea that AI will be able to replace all jobs that have what is required, quote, unskilled labor. I fucking love how they did the unskilled labor thing, and then they were like, and there are civil servants.
Yeah, they took the
And
police's
then when
job.
when they were taking the cop's job, I was like, yeah, okay, I'm fucking into this. And then they're beating the shit out of people in the streets, and then that escalates into nuclear war. The fucking AI set off a warhead in Los Angeles.
Here's my question.
That was fucking awesome.
So this movie takes place in 2065, 2067?
Yeah, somewhere around there.
When that documentary film reel starts, is that, I'm assuming that starts, it's like an alternate history from like the 50s and 60s, and they have more advanced technology. So by the time we get to 2023, that's the type of shit you'd see cops that are AI.
You saw them 3D printing the brains.
Yes.
So that's pretty much where it was like the flashpoint.
I think that commercial, like, to get, your robots.
Your likeness.
Yeah, is from 2050 because there's a 10-year gap from the detonation of the bomb from that, and then it's another 5 year jump
after that.
Yeah, so if we're in 2065, then that is actually from 2050, which makes sense because like it was very like 1950s feeling, like you can get a TV in your house, you can get a washer and dryer.
Well, that was the thing. You could ask Liz at when when the bomb went off, I was like, I literally sat up in my seat. I was like, oh shit.
Our
okay,
theater
this
was
is-
very
this is-
loud.
This is fucking, all right, this is serious now. I didn't think we were going to go here. And then it turned into when he's given that fucking, when the president is given the State of the Union speech
Is
or
that the
whatever.
president? I thought it was like a general.
No, that was the president because the vice president and the speaker of the house is
Okay.
behind him. So
Oh, true. Good point.
so he's given this, and I love how it's filmed in this style that's almost like those iPhone filters that every indie band does. Listen, you're not shooting on an 8mm camera from the 70s. You're not. Nobody believes it. But in this, they use that type of filter for whatever reason on what you would think would be a futuristic camera, but maybe it's like black site footage or something from like maybe a secret government meeting or some shit, right? Who knows? But what I love about it is you can't make out any of the faces on the people because ultimately it's not condemning one party or the other. It's the system itself. That's what I loved
I have
about
no
it.
idea what you're getting at.
The politicians are immediately going to war. They're like,
Right.
we need to
What do
extinguish
you mean
AI.
you couldn't make out their faces?
The faces on all of them were all distorted. They were all light like you can't see any of their faces.
Not in my screening. You could see them clear. It
Could
was,
you see his? I couldn't see their
it
faces.
did look like film stock.
Like it looked all grainy, and you couldn't. And
Yeah.
then what
it
I
just looked like a stylistic
and I
choice.
love the fact that the dialogue doesn't go one. It's really skirts right down the middle of being like we're like where they like the whole thing about like and don't get us wrong. We don't blame the people of Asia or
New Asia.
New Asia. However, like we've banned. However, we are committed to destroying AI wherever. Like it's just it was very reminiscent of like early war on terror type of
Yeah,
rhetoric.
George Bush.
Yeah, and then it was also when you see it in execution, it's very reminiscent of the stories you hear about these guys just invading villages,
Well, yeah,
and these
it
people
looked-
didn't know that Americans were coming.
A lot
and
of
now
it
they're
felt
killing
like-
farmers. You
like
know,
Vietnam.
like yeah, oh yeah, for sure. It definitely felt like Vietnam too.
What I do want to say about that moment with the president giving the speech is you could easily see this going the route of, you know, like the AI drops the bomb and now humans are on the run. Like every other sci-fi movie, humans are at a disadvantage and we're running from AI and it's the last glimmer of hope in humanity. This one is interesting because the AI is just trying to live and get by, and the U.S. government is like, we're hunting you motherfuckers down.
Yeah.
It's not like we're living in the sewers and shit like every other sci-fi movie.
Well, that's the other thing too. It's like that's why I was also saying it's very reminiscent of like Afghanistan and stuff because
Yeah.
like it's 10 years later is like all right, you've already banned AI in the West and it's on site with AI in the United States and like the Western world in general. So the presumption is third world countries that would use AI as a weapon or like a resource for them to, you know, build up their society. You know, the United States, it's not in the United States' best interest anymore for anyone else to have AI if they don't have it either.
non-nuclear proliferation.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. So
Yeah.
like the commentary is like, it's set dressing though. It's not
Yeah.
really the focus of the movie.
Well, the focus of the movie is what? Family, you know, like...
Well, that's ultimately it's
Like,
like
what
I
is-
don't feel like
what
you
is
can
the message of this
disseminate,
movie?
you know, because it's not like his daughter. It's kind of his daughter, but not his daughter. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, because
And I liked all the messaging too when the general and what's the character who's like leader, she's the commander of that mission.
Colonel Howell. It's
Yes.
Allison Janney.
So the general and the colonel come to him, and they're basically talking about how like Neanderthals existed at the same time as human beings, but they were put basically, you know, like raped and murdered by a human race.
and I wondered, did humans exist at the same time?
yes,
as
that's-
Neanderthals?
that's-
Yes.
Yeah, they
That's
had
a-
to.
Yeah, and that's like if you ever get like 23andMe, there is a possibility that you can get Neanderthal DNA
Ooh.
because there is some trace remnant from you know humans and Neanderthals.
That's fucking
you know,
crazy.
intermingling.
Coexisting.
That's fucking sick. I didn't know that.
And then we made them extinct, so their DNA is still mixed in with us to
Yeah.
some degree.
I'm-
But how about that video that they play of Maya 5 years later. The technology in this is so cool
It's
because
very
it's
interesting.
It's classic, it's like retro futurism.
Yeah.
So the video is like
It's like it does impressive stuff, but it still needs a power source. You know what I mean? Like, yeah.
And it's like, oh, this could be crystal clear video, but it's like blurry and you only have like oval segments.
Yeah.
The TV screens are all long. The
Yeah,
aspect
they're 21
ratio,
by 9 or some shit. Like
It's crazy.
Every TV is ultra wide.
Yeah.
And like that made me think, is this just like a stylistic choice, or is that how cameras developed, or is that how the content people were watching developed, or you know what I mean? It makes you think like, why did they go this route? You know what I mean? Or maybe it was they had to make TVs that way because there was no AI in them this way or something. This movie really makes you think upon all the choices of the creativity around the story, whereas the story really doesn't make you think too much at all.
The vehicles, like
the vehicle. Oh, dude,
all the
I love
cars
the
are
truck.
lifted up.
I love how the one truck looks like a piece of shit from the outside, but on the inside is super futuristic.
Yeah.
But all of the other cars sound and drive exactly like the Tumbler from the Batman series.
Also, the blasters sound like was it Star Wars? The blasters had a specific sound from another franchise.
Dude, there is a shit ton of homages and wink and a nod to lots of other sci-fi franchises and comic book stuff. A lot of that I found through musical cues that they either licensed out because it was cheaper, or they just used sound effects that were in other. So it's possible that a Star Wars one slipped in there I don't know if it's the same exact music, but I do know that it's the same progression and same key as the fucking BioShock music when you exit the clouds and see Columbia for the first time, those faint keys. That's the same fucking sound that you hear in this music.
How about the needle drops? Like
they what, they were appropriate though.
And there was not too many of them. Mike, as you're going on this kind of like black ops mission. We're going to find this secret base to find what's the name of the person who the creator? Nirmata. You're going to find the Nirmata, and there you have this like futuristic ship flying in over New Asia, and fucking what's that the fucking song by Radiohead. It's the one that's like Mike, you know what I'm talking about. You listen to Radiohead.
You know that blah, 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 blah.
Everything in its right place.
Okay,
everything in its right place, and it's like I immediately like lit up when that started playing. I was like, "Oh, this is fucking cool."
It perfectly locks you into the moment of what's happening. What'd you think of the action? Actually, now that we're,
I thought it was pretty good because it wasn't heavy-handed. There was only a lot of action when there needed to be.
Yeah.
That bridge scene, that whole set piece was cool as fuck.
Yeah. So that was the one thing I felt this movie could have added to the action was a little bit of teeth. Because have you ever seen Elysium?
Is that the one with Matt Damon?
Yeah.
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
There is a crazy scene in that movie where Charlton Copley gets his face blown off with a grenade.
Oh, you told me about this.
Yeah. And then later on in the movie, he goes into like some scanner. The whole movie is about a commentary on healthcare and how the rich can only afford it. And so he's a hitman hired by the rich to keep the poor out of Elysium to, don't come to fucking Elysium, goddammit. You can't have the cancer curing drugs. He has his face reconstructed right in front of your eyes, and it's one of the most insane effects. And I felt like since this very much felt like in that avenue of like District 9, I thought this too could have used a little bit more blood and guts in the listen, go for broke. You ain't making money on this. You might as well just make it rated R.
They need to get as many asses in those seats. They can't afford to be locking out anybody.
So there was a couple moments where I thought, this could be a little bit bloodier. Oh, this could be like
it didn't bother
in
me at all.
Elysium. There was some scenes where Matt Damon shoots people with a gun through the corner of a hallway, and you see every time the bullets hit, just chop them up. Like sci-fi gun, chop them up. Whereas this, sometimes you'd get a little bit of blood on people after they've been shot, and when they shot, there's no squib or anything. There's no blood splatter or anything, which is, it's fine. Like Nolan doesn't do mass amounts of blood, but the action's still very good. But I think this action wasn't as tight as Nolan's action to get away with not having blood. I think this action could have used a little bit more blood.
Doesn't bother me.
What'd you think of the U.S. Army fucking Halo style elephents?
The giant
The
tanks.
giant
no,
tanks.
They did have a rhino on the side of them.
Oh,
so
okay,
I'm assuming
cool.
they're called rhinos.
Yeah, all right, that would make sense.
Those were cool. What I liked better was the humanoid fucking suicide bomb guys.
Oh, yeah.
The insurgents, yeah.
Yeah, Mike. One of these guys, they basically look like a trash can with
Yep.
arms and legs, and they like put a timer on it, and they're basically like, "Oh, here's your coordinates. Just go suicide bomb these people." And the fucking guy, like this bomb dude, is just like, "It's been an honor serving you," and just runs, fucking stomps down this bridge to
Yeah.
to our heroes. Oh my god, that was so
It
cool.
was, and the funny part is like it's one of those things where you see all these trees like move, like get
Yep.
crushed in the background,
Looked like Avatar.
Yeah, and you see all these birds fly, and everything gets really quiet, and then like all these smoke canisters come out, and then you just see, and it's this big fucking guy just coming down the bridge. So what'd you think of this thing?
The Nomad.
The Nomad.
Cool. I think like you said earlier, there was not a single bad effect. I thought all of the designs of everything looked incredible.
Yeah.
Actually, I just thought of this. There was one shot that looked bad,
Which one?
and I don't know
This
if
looks
they
like a Daft Punk album.
kind of yeah.
See, he looks like a Tibetan monk.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
He basically
yeah.
is.
Oh yeah, that's right. Because when they land, they just shoot those fucking
Shoot
monks
monks.
immediately. That's right.
There's people listed
And that-
on Google as monks.
Yeah,
so
and that's
yes.
that's truthfully why I kept getting the war on terror, because
but for me, I think it's more or less the fact that it's like in Asia, and like
Yeah.
you're seeing a lot of like Asian inspired buildings and garb and everything. So to me, it just harkens back to Vietnam.
yeah, no.
Especially because like the things that remember that there's that scene where it's like this is the lock is face activated. He's like, I guess I need a face, and goes to cut somebody's
that's
head
right.
off.
That was fucking no. He cut the face
Oh, that's
off.
cool.
Cut the
He
face
cut her
off,
face off. Yeah.
So that's like very Vietnam. You know, it's like just needlessly brutal,
Unhinged.
unhinged.
But we never saw the face.
No,
So,
but
I didn't-
just the implication of
so
it was brutal enough.
One of the things I didn't understand were the blue beams. Like I get that was like the targeting system or something, but I didn't get why. Like I guess it was. I guess maybe it was scanning certain geographical areas, or like it would fly over something and it would like map out the terrain underneath. Perhaps you know what I mean. Like
Yeah.
So I guess maybe that's
It's also incredibly intimidating.
yeah. You see
that
that
shit-
shit flying over you, you're fucked.
Yep. And that was the same technology, Liz, you were saying earlier, the
Yeah, the
targets.
targets.
Like, that was cool as fuck. So
Reminds me of some sort of RTS where like your units get
Yeah, yeah.
targeted by something. Yeah.
yeah,
like-
we've locked in our targeting computers.
Because like once you have that target on you, like you're screwed.
Did you notice there was that one scene in the bridge sequence?
Mm-hmm.
There's like a group of 5 dudes who realize that they've been targeted, and they
Yes.
all start running. And one guy goes around a corner behind a building, and his target disappears.
Yeah.
and I'm like, that's a nice detail. He's
Yeah.
now out of range of the targeting computer.
Yeah.
The AI that got blown up though, that's the guy I'm talking about who gave he gave a really good performance.
Well, he's not a villain.
You know,
He's antagonistic at one point, but he is on the good guy's side.
I got to be honest. I felt like the one good thing that the movie did was making me not choose.
It was gray.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
was a very big gray area because at the same time, it's like, listen. I mean, if I was alive when a fucking artificial intelligence set off a nuke and killed 1 million plus people, I probably would be on the side of kill them all.
And we
you know what I
we
mean?
kinda,
but through the purview of this relationship
Yep.
is supposed to challenge your feelings on
Right.
that.
Just like Last of Us Part 2. When they make
What
you
does
play
it
as the
mean
villain.
to be human?
Oh, they don't even do that. They don't even come close to touching that.
We kind of even skimmed over the bombing in LA when they show the giant crater and
Yeah.
the wall dividing like the not destroyed side of LA versus the destroyed, like so cool.
Yeah,
very cool.
You know, that's
setting.
actually unchanged from LA today. Like they just they just
They
put up a wall.
They just put John David Washington in a suit.
Yeah, exactly. Like, hey, go play for a couple hours. We'll get some fucking B-roll.
But that moment, we talk about the moment where they're pulling people out of cars.
Okay, so there's a moment early on in the film where I guess their job is they go into Ground Zero, And not only do they scan for the missing and the dead to, confirm with their loved ones, like,
I
hey,
don't
we
even know
found
if they're doing that.
They were scanning faces and they were doing biometric readings. But they were also
waited a little
pulling
long.
what?
They waited a little bit long for that. Those people were.
But it's also
Dummies.
it's also nuclear too, so I'm sure that they
Yeah.
had to wait for some of that radiation.
You
to
know,
wear
if they
off.
didn't melt first.
Yeah.
So then they were pulling people. I mean, then the other job is to, I guess, kill AI that they find that are still in there. So they find one that they pull out and they think it's dead, and then it wakes up, and this girl is clearly I don't know if she doesn't understand like the whole politics of the situation or really. She's 2016, Pat. So she's just spouting off fucking conspiracy theories. So she's talking about what the propaganda, I guess, would make her believe or whatever, and then it comes to life, and he's
So,
like,
hold on.
"I gotta kill it. I gotta kill it."
It's important. So what she's saying basically is that the AI, it's just programming their
No,
not,
he says that to her after he kills it. She freaks out. It's
What-
like,
then
"Oh
what
my
is-
god!"
What is she saying? Because
She's just saying some conspiracy bullshit that's not even within the realm of like truth. I forget what she
About
said.
what?
She said, "I heard the robots detonated the bomb for something, and it was something. It was supposed to be a commentary on misinformation.
Gotcha.
That's not the real.
Well, either
and
way-
then what it turns into is the AI wakes up and she starts freaking out because she's like, "Oh my god!" It's like, and he's like, "Calm down, calm down." He puts its foot on its
the
neck.
AI is screaming about
Yes.
the person,
the person
that
it was married to, which
Yeah.
in this case was the human.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then they turn it off, they kill it, and he says it's just programming, it's not a real person, and she's freaking out how it had feelings and thoughts and like
Yeah.
how it was calling out to somebody that it loved before it died. Which would freak anyone out. I feel like if any life form was calling out to somebody before it died, you know what I mean? Whereas in this particular instance, John David Washington's character is just like, yeah, it's programming. Which, truthfully, that's how I felt. So I felt related to that. Like you have to teach the AI to think about things. You know what I mean? The AI just doesn't learn to think. That's the linchpin of all these sci-fi movies,
Yeah.
that they become self.
Now I'm trying to. Oh,
Sentient.
that's the Mandalorian's thing too. He doesn't like.
Oh.
Right? Isn't he like? Oh, he doesn't like. Robots. He doesn't. He doesn't like.
Droids.
Droids, thank you. That's the word I'm looking for. And then in season 2, he's got to pair up with IG-88 or whatever.
Oh yeah,
And then he's got to trust.
yeah. Yeah, so that would kind of be the same deal here, I guess, is that he doesn't like AI for obvious reasons.
His family,
His-
his parents and his brother died in the LA blast.
and his wife
Well, then his wife was
turned out to be the mother of AI.
Well, the mother.
She's Nirmata.
Nirmata, yeah, but not. She didn't make AI. She made this AI.
No. She
No.
You saw the definition in the beginning of the film, right?
Right. Her
Yeah.
dad was the original Nirmata. Now it was handed down to her.
Is that how?
Yes.
So yeah,
I thought it was. I thought.
but she didn't invent AI.
Okay.
She was now she's creating
Yeah.
Alfie.
She's not Les Paul. She's Slash.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah. Exactly. Okay.
But
Where
she-
she's basically created this.
A sick solo.
Yeah. Really awesome lick.
She
What were you gonna
learned
say,
how,
Liz?
she learned how to create an AI that has the capability to grow and learn, which is horrifying when you really think about
But
it.
she also gave it telepathy too, which
And gave
is,
it the ability to love humanity.
yeah, interesting.
Love.
She could have programmed it to hate humanity.
I see that once again. That was the thing. Is just like, yeah, but it goes back to like it's just programming. Then stop.
You
Like,
can't program
Yeah, but
hate,
but
Nick.
if it-
It's learned.
she literally
can't have hate in
programmed
your
her.
heart.
can't have hate in your heart. That's right.
Well, it's been a while.
That has Gutters hasn't come back either. In
Yeah,
a
I was
while.
thinking about that today.
I saw the Gutters
Were ya?
on that AI, and
Yeah,
I
I
was
was
like,
thinking
hey, how
about
you
Gutters.
doing?
I was thinking about all of our longtime listeners who've been like, I've been waiting for Gutters, and they haven't said it in weeks.
It's been a year, Daddy. All right. Is there anything? Should we talk about the ending now? Should we talk about how this motherfucker wraps up?
We barely talked about Maya at all.
But that's the thing. Maya's character isn't really present for 80% of the
that's
movie.
true.
She's there in the beginning to set up his journey, And then she's there at the end for the closure of his character because he learns literally to love AI before
true.
he dies.
Yeah.
You know, like literally as the space station's falling apart, he's probably like, is there anywhere I could put this? You know what I mean?
Watanabe. Anywhere I could put this. I'm glad I caught that. Ken Watanabe, right? He's what was his character's name in this?
Harun.
Sato from The Dark Knight. That wasn't Ken Watanabe. He's not in the Dark Knight movies.
But he was in Rogue One.
Begins.
Yes,
right?
he was.
And
He was in Inception, Batman Begins.
Yes. Yeah.
Godzilla?
Dude, he's great.
Oh, he was in Godzilla. Yeah, he's almost in every Gareth Edwards movie.
I wish he like was more prominently featured in a lot of shit. He's always great in everything I see him in.
Rogue One, Godzilla, 2 Pirates movies, I think, and a couple other bigger action movies in the early. Like he's got a prolific career. He's the guy that if you need gravitas, you call.
Yes, that's
I will
true.
say Google is showing that he was in The Dark Knight. But it could
Who
be
the fuck was he in The Dark
He
Knight?
played
Oh.
the Joker.
It's over. Everyone, he was in Pokemon Detective Pikachu. That's all that matters.
Have you seen it?
Yeah, we saw
Yeah,
that.
we saw
yeah.
Then why are you laughing at me?
I fucking seen Pokemon.
Fucker.
I mean, I haven't seen it in years. Fucker.
No, but he was good as the like the general AI. I don't know what to call him.
I know what you should call him.
His name is listed.
Algae Rhythm.
Algae Rhythm. That's right. Algae Rhythm. So
Okay, so let's talk about the finale.
yeah.
Motherfucker rode on an atomic bomb. He just
Learned
hold
to love it.
I will say this.
I really thought they were gonna pull a fucking Doctor Strangelove
The-
where he's
the-
riding the bomb as
the-
it's dropping.
The end of the movie kind of felt like let's try to fit some sort of action set piece in this
Yeah,
while
it
we
didn't
still
need to
can.
be.
It didn't need to be, and it didn't. But there was cool moments. I like the part where the troops get to him and he's like, he's gonna release the airlock.
That was cool.
I thought that was cool. And even then, I love how Alfie ends up Alf. I love how Alf ends up going to goes up to the AI research department of Nomad, and you're like, of course the United States would be like, you can't have this, but we're gonna have it anyway because fuck you.
We're gonna leave it all in a nice little dark room just in case we
But it's
ever
up in
need
the
it.
sky.
Yeah, exactly. And it's just I loved seeing the atomic bombs drop that weren't active,
yeah.
and they're like the size of like 6 buses in a row.
Scale.
Yeah, exactly.
That,
Scale.
I will say that was actually another like gorgeous shot. The missiles at the end, like the 3 of them coming down and like being, this far off the ground, and like everybody in like those like smaller villages just kind of watching like, oh shit.
The whole fucking Nomad comes crashing down, and they're running
They are
towards
running
the explosions.
towards
Like,
it.
don't go near that.
Also, can we just talk about how this lunar airplane left LAX to go to the moon, and within under 10 minutes is over Southeast Asia?
It's 2065.
It's 20. Yeah, that doesn't
come
bother
on.
me.
They brought back the Concorde.
Also,
they can do that no problem.
Yeah, exactly.
Evacuation
They
plans.
brought back the Concorde. What a fucking reference.
The evacuation plans for all of these people were terrible. The Nomad, the villages.
There was
All
some
awful.
bonehead things. Like why did he throw her? Why did he throw Alfie in the pod and didn't get in himself? I missed that part.
She got in there herself. She
Oh,
closed him in the airlock
yes.
so he could
Breathe
breathe
and
again.
he closed the door to cut off the arms of that robot
Oh
thing.
yeah, that kind of came out of nowhere. Didn't Dr. Octopus like?
It looked like
I remember being
something from
"Where
the Matrix.
Yeah, I was like, where the fuck did this come from?
Oh, and we totally skipped over the cops had those giant floating whatever the fuck they
Oh,
were.
yeah.
Those things were cool.
The assault in the beginning actually is a
Yeah.
fun sequence actually, and I love how it's like, where's the fucking? I was like, dude, War on Terror. This is exactly what the fuck this was like.
How about when she calls in like the strikes on the cop cars, surrenders, and then just
Well, those are out of her own fucking thing.
No. She shot up flares And then I assumed maybe you're
No,
right.
no. She literally shot up a cluster bomb that goes up and then turned into a bunch of missiles and
came
then came
down.
down.
All right, fair enough.
And that's when she was like, "I just killed the entire local PD. Hurry your asses up!" Like
She, in fact, did not kill the entire.
she did
No,
not.
that
No.
was that was the Metro
That was-
PD.
yeah.
That was coming as backup.
And then later on, the dog with the grenade.
Great.
The whole time I was like, "Oh, that dog's gonna fucking explode!"
Yeah.
And then I
dog's gonna blow.
I love how they're all freaking out, like they don't know, because it's even there might be even like they might not be programmed to even consider a situation like that.
Like all of those AI cars down in Texas that had gotten that traffic jam with each other.
What are we talking
Yeah,
about?
they didn't
Yeah.
consider that situation either.
Yeah, they never even thought it was even a possibility.
It was hysterical, that one AI police robot that's like missing his head and he's like,
Yep.
oh, and like then he falls over, but that dog was absolutely hysterical. So they throw a bomb under, I guess it's like a garage door into where Alfie and Joshua are. And it has 10 seconds left. And this dog is like, I got this. Don't worry.
Casual.
Picks it up in its mouth, walks it outside at what 2 seconds left, just drops it down this like little hill where they are. And then it explodes. And the dog's like, yep.
Yep.
Good.
One thing we never talked about was the brain swapping. How they would
that was a
download
cool
the
concept.
consciousness of somebody who was alive as a human, and you could upload them to if you got them soon enough, you could upload their full consciousness to a simulate, and then there they go. They are an AI
And
now.
now you have a
Yeah.
copy of that person.
Exactly.
That was actually a really cool scene when
That scene was really 27
the-
seconds. I counted.
the colonel
Yeah.
and what's his name? I have it up here. I think his name is McBride. They pull the consciousness
the guy
from,
with red hair.
Yes, they pull the consciousness from a guy that's been dead, and they're like, "You're gonna have 30 seconds." And like the first thing he does is like look at his dead body, and he goes, "Oh my god, I'm dead!" And like,
Tell my wife.
like imagine having that happen to you.
That was
like,
a really great.
Literally an out about
was,
it.
was
Literally
fantastic.
an out about it experience.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you know what? It's one of those things where it's like that guy as an actor got arguably the smallest role out of like the supporting cast, but he had the heaviest job
He
to
made
do.
a meal out of it.
Yeah, exactly. Where it's like first he plays a guy that
ate.
gets his fucking face blown off, then he plays another one of those guys that also dies, but has to be what's it called? But has to play another character that already
dude
died.
playing another dude.
disguised as another dude. Yeah.
his name is Amar Chadha Patel.
He was
He was
fucking great.
He was great. He should fucking get back out there because he's fucking awesome.
Yeah,
Get back
that
out
was-
there and
Come
get more
on.
role. Yeah, book him.
Come on, buddy.
Um,
The one shot that I brought up earlier that looked bad was when before they get to Alfie and there's the like I don't know, they're like lock picking the door and the guy's like, I'll be right back in 2 seconds. That shot looked oddly different and it looked low quality when he's got his digital
Oh,
LED
yeah,
screen.
yeah,
Did
yeah.
you notice that?
a little bit, but
It
I mean,
looked, it looked
I was,
like it was like shot on a much lower quality
I was
camera.
very tense at that moment because I was like, "Ooh, what the fuck's in it?" I was
Yeah,
like,
they-
"I know what's gonna be in there," but
When they all started splitting up, I'm like, "Ooh, this is where things go wrong."
Yep.
I feel like this movie works better if you have no fucking idea what's going on.
Sorry,
when
Mike.
it starts. Yeah, yeah. Sorry, Mike. I guess we ruined it for you, but
Yeah,
do we have
that's fine.
anything
I'd want
else?
to see it still.
Do we have anything else you want to touch on? I mean, like, I think if you're into sci-fi at this point, you should just see it.
Yeah.
Anything, Liz?
You guys sold
thinking-
me. I want to go see it.
It's fine. I think no, I think that's it. I like that like Alfie was essentially like AI built from the love of Joshua and Maya, and it's in theory their child, but not their child.
Yeah. And I like that she.
I like this idea that you don't got to see your wife for 5 years. That's cool too.
Does
Bye.
Alfie look anything like Alf the alien?
Yes.
Yeah. Yup.
It's actually just Alf.
Same hook nose and everything.
Yeah.
It looks
God.
exactly like him.
Same hair.
Yeah. Yep. 93 years old. Don't know what Alf is. Thank you, Mike.
I thought the finale was just okay.
Yeah. Yeah. It was one of those things that didn't exactly send you home on a high note, but it was I thought it was still a good conclusive ending to
It
the
was
story.
a nice little heartfelt moment.
Yeah.
And Alfie is now like a a god, a demigod. That I thought was really cool. All the interactions with other AI, where they're like, "Oh, this is basically we're meeting God right now. This is
exactly.
You're sent here to save us."
What is the nature of your trip when they're trying to get on like
Oh,
the
yeah.
moon? And she's like, I want to be free. And they're like,
That's it.
okay.
That guy, that robot that she touched looked like the guy from Hitchhiker's Guide. You know, the big round
big
head and
dome
everything.
guy.
Yeah.
That was fun that you could tell kind of which robots were kind of made probably earlier in the AI journey to like the later versions. Because there were some that looked like old cameras on top of like bodies, but then some of them look like really streamlined and futuristic. So that was a fun time.
They
one
didn't
guy
give
who
the
could-
boobies nipples though. Why?
Yeah.
Was that like a AI sweatshop or like
No, that was
what?
an AI. They made AI.
Was that like
there.
where you donate your likeness?
Well, that I mean, I'm sure you donate your likeness somewhere better than where that shithole was.
It's
you know,
like it's like where you go get your picture at the DMV.
Yeah.
It's like a factory.
and then they take it to the bowels of the DMD, and then they print your
The
license.
DMD?
Yeah.
DMD.
All right. Anything else? I think we're
Go
good.
watch this
yeah, go
movie.
watch this movie.
Yeah.
Just go fucking see it. It's really good. I really liked it. We all really liked it. Check it out.
Because
Write it down. Write it down.
yeah, this is a movie worth watching.
Yes. All right.
Are you ready?
Yep.
All right, let's do it.
Oh yeah, it's the clip of the week. Oh, it's the clip of the week. It's the clip of the week.
All right. So I saw this and I immediately was like, clip of the week. Ready?
Ready?
You need to leave. You need to leave.
Oh, I've seen this one.
You need to leave. You need to leave.
Is this the gingerbread man from Shrek?
He starts smashing his face on it.
Did he smash his face?
Yeah, look.
I think he might have.
smashes
Either
his
that was his
face on
fist or
the
his
hood
face.
of the
Hold on,
car.
wait.
Watch. Ready? Here it comes. And boom. So I don't know what the buildup to this situation was. Obviously, some sort of car accident happened, and I think these two guys were just trolling, walking
Yes,
by,
yeah, definitely.
and this guy just fucking lost his shit. Like,
Hey man, at least he didn't get shot like that YouTuber.
Yeah.
I have a nuanced take on that, but
Hey, the jury
the jury
found him not
acquitted him.
guilty.
You need to leave.
If the glove don't fit.
See, so he said something to him that was fucked up. But
He said
I just thought it was
you,
kind of.
He said, you racist bitch.
I think he
That's what
said
it
you
said.
racist bigot. I think that's what he said.
Okay.
Here, listen.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, I'm assuming he yelled at them to leave, and
It-
then they're now mocking him.
Yeah. It looks like this is the guy that caused the accident. Oh, and we're drinking.
I'm assuming it's these
No,
two
these-
guys.
These
These
two
are
are work.
people
These two
just-
guys are working something out. Like they
got in the
they
accident.
got in the accident. The other two guys were trolling, and I'm sure this guy was like, "You need to leave," or that guy was like, "You need to leave." And this dude's under an immense amount of stress because either he doesn't have good insurance or he doesn't have insurance at all.
And he's also fighting for custody of his kids.
Yeah, exactly.
Also, if
That
somebody
500-pound son of a bitch.
if somebody sounded like the gingerbread man from Shrek was yelling at me, I'd be a little upset too.
Yeah, well, he breaks his own car. I'm guessing, right?
That's not gonna make it any better.
So there was one.
God damn.
I'm going to tell a story. I'm not proud of this moment, but it's something that happened. I was
Here
in
we go.
I was in the car with my dad one time, and he and I were just fucking going at it, yelling at each other. I don't know. It was about something stupid, but I wanted to hit him. But I'm like, I'm not gonna hit him. So I just, as I'm driving, I punched my fucking windshield.
Oh, I remember you
and
talking about
I
this.
remember.
just fucking cracked the shit out of it.
I remember.
And yeah, I've been in this guy's position
I
where I'm just
remember
like,
you talk-
I need to get this energy out in some way.
So
So,
if
I
there-
just destroy my windshield.
So if there was a gingerbread man yelling at you, that
I
would have
probably would have done the exact same thing.
Oh my god, dude.
That was a
What did your
different-
dad say?
I don't remember. I honestly
We're just like, yeah, stupid fuck, you broke your own windshield.
I think at that point he just kept his mouth shut. We turned the car around and went home. We were going to the beach. We weren't going anywhere important. We were going to the beach.
Ultimately, I still love how this story ends with, and then I went home.
Yeah, then we went home. And I called up my insurance and I was like, a baseball hit my car.
From the inside.
I threw it from the inside, but it still happened.
Safe Flight repair. Safe Flight replace.
I had to call Safelite because my insurance was like, yeah, no.
All right. Well, with that, go see the creator, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.